First of all, I don't know which particular property we're talking about, and there's a number of them there. Second of all, it's normal to sell production on the market, so it's not going to really affect anything because it's a pretty large market. It's just that I think Mr. Chavez has gone too far in controlling the interests of the country, and they still haven't solved many of the mining problems. They've essentially stolen the properties that were contracted for legally by preceding governments, and what they have done is wrong. And I think in the final analysis, when you have bread and circuses and nationalize things, you become a loser. And it's only a matter of time now before the people change the government. And I hope it's the people that do it, but I don't see anybody else trying to do it, mind you. But I think it was a terrible mistake. You can't blame the Russians because they're taking an opportunity. But it was unfair what they did to the mining companies who were already there.
Well, that's true. And Russia's also buying a lot of bullion, and India's buying a lot of bullion. And there's rumors on the marketplace that the Chinese are buying a lot of bullion in gold and silver. With those just the governments. Those are the governments that are buying bullion. And then we come through with the report that's on my News and Views today that concerns, I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday's News and Views report where the North Koreans had devalued their won last week, and everything had to be converted by this next Sunday. But today, it is on my News and Views today somewhere. There is a note that the North Koreans have rescinded that because there's so much chaos in North Korea because of this devaluation of their won. With all of that that's going on, Mr. Chapman, I mean, this is a communist. I mean, this isn't really a communist country. This is a total dictatorship country in North Korea. Even the Chinese have sort of distanced themselves and divorced themselves away. Russia won't have anything to do with them, and they're devaluing their won. We're seeing major catastrophic events within North Korea. My question is, if anything like this were to happen to the United States, do you think it would be catastrophic?
Well, first of all, I think it would be difficult. Whether it be catastrophic or not, I don't know. I think North Korea and the United States are certainly two vastly different countries. And in North Korea, they don't have enough to eat. They have a poor economy. There's nothing there that makes it eay for them. And when you have a dictator and a giant army, and you're more interested in being on the top of military technology than you are in feeding the people, you got a problem. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 100 to 1, which was the devaluation.
You're right on. It was 100 to 1 to the exchange rate. 100 to 1.
Right,
they were using to fight inflation, and it wasn't working.
Well, in command economies, it's very difficult, and China's got a command economy as well, and so they're faced with some of the same kinds of problems. Certainly not as dire because they're a bigger country. And they do grow a lot of food, and it's easier for them to do so. They have varying climates, everything from cold to hot. I mean, Guangdong and Hong Kong are warm cities. But in comparison to the United States, I've been told by people who are high up in the banking world, who have been at Federal Reserve meetings recently, among other things, have been told that the Fed expects a devaluation by the end of next year. and that's of the U.S. dollar, and it will be official. And I believe that. I believe my source, and the reason I believe that is that I expected it. I didn't expect it quite so quickly. I thought it might take an additional 6 months to a year, but that's what's going to happen. They didn't give an exchange. I backed into what's gone on with the U.S. dollar in relation to other major currencies, like on the USDX index, which is 6 major currencies versus the U.S. dollar. And I figured that the USDX, which is around 76 right now, could go to 40 to 50. And if I'm right, that would justify the Treasury in a devaluation of giving one new dollar for 3 old ones. And I would think that if that were to happen, then there would be an international meeting such as the Smithsonian in the early 70s, the Plaza Accord in 85, and the Louvre Accord in 87, and they would revalue and devalue all the currencies against one another, and there would be a debt settlement, which I think would be about 2/3, which is about the same ratio of the U.S. purported devaluation. And the question we get over and over again is, what will that do to my $100,000 mortgage or my $100,000 salary? And if logic were to persist, then the mortgage would go down to $32,500 and the salary would drop to $32,500. And if you were getting $1,000 in a pension or from Social Security, that would drop down to $325. But logic doesn't prevail in Washington or New York City, nor does it prevail among the people who are at Copenhagen right now trying to form a world government. And so I can't answer that, but I've given you the logical answer. But it's on the way. And the only way that you can protect yourself if you have money, wealth, beyond what you normally use in everyday life, you turn it into gold and silver-related assets. It's the only safe place.
A quick question. It just came in from Betty in Southern California. She chimes in and she says, are you saying that if $3 strawberries are on the market now, the price of $3 strawberries today would be reduced to $1 on such a deal?
That's great. That's correct. And on the other hand, if they don't use logic on debt, and they say everybody's got to pay their debt even though it's at a higher level, then they'll have a revolution.
Well, I can see that.
And they know that. And all you people in the military may be faced with having to act for government in behalf of putting, controlling demonstrations and things like that. I think there's a lot of things we could run into in that sort of a situation. I talk about them in the International Forecaster, and they're difficult decisions, there's no question. But in the meantime, before that happens, we're going to get more and more information out to the public about scams and frauds like global warming and the things that are going on within government. Somebody from the FBI said the other day, and it's in this issue, that the biggest problem in America today for us is corporate and governmental corruption. They said it has never existed like this before.
Oh, but it has. It happened in 1921 with the Weimar Republic.
Well, that was Germany, not the United States.
No, I didn't say. I thought you just said it never happened before. No, it has never happened.
Oh, I meant in the United States. I should have been more specific. And incidentally, the rapacious situation that Germany was in those days was a result of the Treaty of Versailles and reparations, which means they had to pay back the people who they lost the war to, the European countries. The U.S. would not accept reparations payment, and that meant that the Germans had to inflate their currency, and the Weimar Republic in 1922 and 23 collapsed, and people were getting paid twice a day with wheelbarrows full of notes, currency. And whether that'll happen in America remains to be seen, but the point is that's what brought that about. And that event at Versailles